I am fighting an Olympic wrestler in 3 days. I'm fighting him because my series in Dagestan went completely viral, getting 50 million views on all platforms. So now the entire world has seen how much I suck at wrestling. However, I have a chance to redeem myself. I have arranged a training with an Olympic wrestler. And if I can impress him during the training, I will have definite proof my wrestling has improved. My first day here in Georgia was tough, but I did learn 2 things. 1. My cardio is completely trash. For that I have something in mind, and that's the first place we're going to. And secondly, I need to integrate into the Georgian culture. Only then will I understand their mindset. It's no surprise a place like this has created fighters like Ilia, Topuria and Merab, Dvalishvili. If I actually want to improve, I need to solve both of these problems. And quick, because the clock is ticking. Yesterday was a very intense training day, but I did make some progress on the roadmap. Later today I was going to have a very intense training session, but first I needed to fix both of my problems, so that's where I was heading to first. I have arrived at the gym. I'm going to do a VO2 max test to get some more insights on why I've been struggling so much with my cardio. And I'm doing that at Gymnasia.
So here is Gymnasia.
The gym mainly focuses on combat sports, but they also have other facilities, for example the gym.
We have also sauna there, but let's go straight to the combat zone,
where they have 2 more mats and an octagon. But for me, I was here to do the VO2 max test. This is the best test possible to see how good or bad your cardio is. They put something over my face to measure my oxygen, and then I was ready to go. Putting all of this into perspective will give me a better overview at how big my chances are at completing the roadmap. Every 2 minutes the pace increases and you have to run for as long as possible. You're also running on an incline, which makes it a lot more difficult. Obviously the beginning is not going to be very hard, but the longer you run, as well with the oxygen mask on your face, it becomes a lot more difficult. I ended up running for a reasonable amount of time. And then when the test was done, they gathered all the data and gave me my final score. I ended up getting 44, which is just the benchmark between average and good. It turned out to be a pretty okay score. And although I was excited after my first training sessions, this showed me that there was still a lot of work to do and that I was nowhere as close as I thought I would be. Obviously it's not excellent, and if I want to become good, that is where I need to be. And the only way to improve it is by doing different kinds of cardio, which I'm going to be doing in the next episode. This training turned out to be so intensive I almost had to vomit, but more on that the next episode. From a rider perspective, the test result is something I can be proud of. This was me in 2020, when I used to weigh 240 pounds, so around 110 kilos. Back then I would have been really happy with average, but not anymore. To see how the Georgian mentality is made, I was invited to come to a kids judo lesson. Because at the end of the day, this is where it all begins.
Hello, I'm Wano, judo coach. You are today on the judo training. In Georgia, judo is very popular, so we have many talented kids in judo. We are starting in Georgia, kids starting training at like 6-7 years. Now we're starting randori. Randori is like fighting. We call it in judo randori. And after this, we have graduation of the belts.
I was really surprised by the high level of a lot of these kids. Usually with a kids lesson it's a lot of playing and moving around, but here you could see small kids from only a couple years old doing perfect technique, doing judo throws, shoulder rolls, everything. A lot of great fighters, including Khabib Nurmagomedov, have talked about the importance of judo. Merab Dvalishvili also talked about how judo was his starting sport, not wrestling. After doing the VO2 max test and experiencing where it all begins on the judo mat, it was time to go to the next location. I am going to the Sulfur baths. Apparently it's a really popular thing here to do, so I'm gonna try it out. I am really sore from my trainings, so it's definitely gonna be a good thing to recover as well before we continue with hard training. I thought the place just looked nice, but apparently it's here. I'm not sure if I just go through the door, but what a building. I am here now in the Sulfur baths. I'm in one of the domes. I think you can see it up here. I booked one for myself just to be able to film. Usually you can share it with multiple people or you can go to like a public one. It's supposed to help with recovery, it's supposed to help with skin and whatever. I had a couple really hard trainings, so I do really need it. And then this is the place. Alright, let's try this out. You're supposed to alternate every 15 minutes. So you have a warm bath, which I'm starting now. Then on the left you have the cold bath, and then you also have the sauna. Here you see me relaxing, doing my own thing, and then for some reason I slipped and I almost drowned. I know this looks fake when you look at it, my reaction. For some reason this was my genuine reaction. I don't know why I did this, but I just couldn't stop laughing looking at it back. That was pretty refreshing. The smell is not the greatest, but it's time to go into the cold bath now, which is not my favorite thing to do. After the cold bath, it was time to go into the sauna and then back into the cold bath. Oh fuck, it's so cold! I was kind of surprised by myself that I managed to stay for almost 3 to 4 minutes, which is a lot longer than I did the first time. And then it was time to do one more round before the time was up. Cold bath, sauna, cold bath. That was a lot more enjoyable than I expected. I gotta get ready because I have to leave in a couple minutes. I only had an hour, but that was good. I feel refreshed. I just got a gift from Fabrista. It's a coffee branch in Russia. They saw my videos and how much I like the coffee there in Dagestan. Dagestan has absolutely amazing coffee. It's insane. And they decided to give me a gift. Their ambassador is none other than Islam Makhachev. They gave me a card with the signature of Islam Makhachev. So that's really cool. They gave me something to drink and some other stuff. I feel like it's all coming full circle. First I was in Dagestan, now I have Islam Makhachev's signature. I think next up it's time to meet them, you know, it's probably the next step. A video with Islam Makhachev and Khabib. I mean, if that's the case, I'm coming back to Dagestan. Like, let me know. Khabib, send me location. I'm coming back to Dagestan. It is already 2 o'clock and I still need to eat. So I think that's gonna be next. And then I'm gonna continue my Georgian integration. And whilst I continued to explore the city, I realized that how much exploration I would do, I was of course never going to get what it is truly like to be a Georgian. The only thing I could do was take something away from this entire experience. I was in the middle of Georgia. And if even a little bit would stay behind with me, I knew that I would have done a great job exploring Tbilisi. Alright, I had some time to relax again at a hotel. I'm gonna pack my stuff and then we're gonna head out again. This time we're gonna have a grappling training in the same gym where I did the VO2 max. Gymnasia, they helped me organize a lot of the stuff, so I really appreciate that. And I'm going to have a very exciting offer for that later in the video. But we're gonna keep training. The clock is ticking. We don't have a lot of time left. Today is going to be a very important training. And I think it's gonna give a good insight for if I'm ready to train with the Olympic wrestler. The only bad thing I will say about Georgia is the traffic. It was awful. I spent 1 hour and 40 minutes in a taxi to get to the gym. But when I arrived, I was ready for a very intense training. Once again, the entire training I was going to be training with Georgians. So I joined the training and the first drill we had to do was try and push and pull each other into the ground. So we were not allowed to make takedowns, we were just allowed to push and pull, and you had to get your other partner off balance. It was a really good drill, very interesting drill. Pretty much the entire training I also ended up going with bigger partners. I thought it was going to be a very good test to see if I was actually improving and not just heavier or bigger than my opponents. I had to use skill, a bit of quickness and also some fighting urge to continue and to make sure that I was doing the best possible. Here you see him being a lot stronger than me. Unfortunately, that was one of the problems I was having in Georgia in general, and then after a while I made a mistake and he managed to get me to the ground and we had to continue. Once again he tried the same thing. I managed to get out of the position and I didn't fall, and it was the end of the round. Then it was time to do a quick interview, but then we could continue. This time once again with the same partner, and now we were allowed to do a little bit more. The goal was to try and lift up your partner. Here you see him lifting me up and then I managed to lift him up as well. Then with a new partner, this time we were also allowed to use the wall. We were clinching, trying to get on the inside, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try and shoot for a takedown. I probably shouldn't have, but you know, mistakes were made. His posture was also really tall. He stood up almost straight with his elbows tucked in tight, which made it really difficult to get close. Then once again trying to shoot in for a takedown. The cameraman kind of stepping in front, but no problem. Here I go for a guillotine, posture up and then go for a takedown. This is a technique I like to do in MMA as well. When you make sure you do something with the head, they will always posture up and leave open their legs. Here you see me shooting in one more time, but once again to no avail. That was the end of the round and we could take a small break. So I'm going to use that to tell you more about BJJ Notes. BJJ Notes is the most trusted training journal for Jiu-Jitsu. It helps you remember what you learned, plan drills, spot strengths and weaknesses, and see weekly progress. The more you log your training sessions, the more the app learns about your training and starts generating insight with AI. Over 12,000 grapplers use it to train smarter. Try it for free or log the annual plan using code BJJAH. After the break was done, it was time for the biggest test I've had yet here in Georgia, King of the Hill. One person stands in the middle and whoever wins stays. If you win 3 matches in a row, you have won and then you go back to the back of the line. I started in the middle and I was coming up against my first opponent. He was standing very low and then I decided to shoot in for a takedown. He managed to sprawl and I tried to go through a technique I've been using here a lot in Georgia. He managed to go to my back and this counted as a takedown, which meant that I lost and I had to go to the back of the line. And you see some of the other guys doing the King of the Hill drill, and then it was time for a second round. I once again starting in the middle. I come up against my first opponent. He went for a more distant approach, but I tried to bombard forward, trying to get into the clinch, trying to overpower him. He tried to pull me down, but I used that to get the takedown, which meant I got my first win and 2 more to go. Then the next opponent, coming in low again, aggressive, wanted to take me down, especially with 2 cameras there of course, shooting in for a beautiful takedown, and I managed to catch him. Every gym I went to, people would always talk about Judo. Of course, Judo and Georgia go hand in hand. And here I decided to see maybe that I could do it as well. I decided to take the risk and try it for myself and got the Judo throw. Not the most clean one, but I managed to do it. However, that's when a problem occurred. I had surgery a couple months ago on that same arm. And although I'm clear to train again, it is not ready for 2 people to fall on top of it. So I re-injured my arm. However, I was not gonna give up. I needed 1 more takedown to win. He decided to shoot in, I catched him, and I knew that I was just going to have to wait for my time. He kept being low, trying to go for the single leg. I was already on my knees, but decided to walk through and I got another takedown, which meant that I completed the challenge. I got 3 from 3 takedowns, which is something I'm really proud of, and it's something that definitely wouldn't have happened a month ago. Then to finish off, we did 1 more drill before we also started doing some rolling, 1 more interview, and then it was time to go for the leg lock position. I got some extra explanation from the coach Pavel, who is a great coach. He was really nice to me the whole time. He helped organize a lot of what you see during this trip. He also had a very good approach to teaching the class. He uses the ecological approach or the constraints-led approach. And we're going to see the fruits of his labor in the next episode, because they were competing in a BJJ tournament and I got to watch, but again, that's coming in the next episode. Here we were once again drilling leg locks. He managed to get a position, I was trying to get out, I rolled to my belly, then stepping over and I was out of the bad position. And then it was time to roll, this time starting with Pavel. We started the round wrestling and then after a while he managed to take me down and he got my back. That happened about 15 times I think this round. He just was constantly taking my back. Once again standing up, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna shoot for a takedown. Single to double leg, I almost got it. I thought in my head that I was gonna get it. I didn't, still on the single leg position. And then after a while I somewhat managed to get it, but he flipped me over, and then from the flip he managed to put it into a submission and I ended up having to tap. So not the best start here for me. Then once again standing position, I knew I wanted to get at least a takedown and he shoots in for a takedown and I catch the guillotine. I thought for a second that I had it. I tried to lock it, go for the other hand, but of course I didn't get it. Some optimism here for me, but not good enough. Of course, I'm not going to be able to use that against the wrestler as well, but at least I can do it here. He managed to get out and then get another submission. That's kind of how the round went, and then I got a new opponent trying to pass open guard position, stepping through, but I didn't get it on the first attempt. Being patient, going for the neck and wanting to go for another guillotine. He went to his knees. I tried to step over, try the technique that I learned a couple of days earlier, didn't get it. Side control, north-south position, kept the position, and then he went for a buggy choke. I knew I couldn't tap to a buggy choke on camera, so I just had to hold out, and he was almost getting it but not good enough. I managed to pressure and I got out of the position. So I got a little bit lucky there, because that would have been really awful to have that on camera. He managed to flip me over in guard position here, and then after a while I was standing up, once again going for the neck. Tried the Dars here, again a technique that I trained a little bit earlier. Go for it, and then he went on his belly, the Armand Saryukian way, which is just ruining Darses for everybody. There are a couple of tricks that you can still do it. I tried to do it here. I managed to get a Dars position. I thought maybe I'm gonna have it, but then it was the end of class, which meant that I had to give up the position, which was really annoying because I thought I was gonna get it. Gymnasia is going to be organizing training camps next year. They're going to be 9 days long, 2 training sessions a day, and they're going to have guest coaches, for example, Olympic wrestlers and Olympic judoers. I've added a link in the description where you can sign up. Soon I'm gonna tell more about Global Fight Tour, which is a company I'm setting up to facilitate training camps all around the world, but more on that soon. I had a really good time at the gym. It was amazing. A lot of people had seen the Dagestan series, so it was really nice to meet everybody and to take pictures with everybody. I mean, a lot has changed recently. Like, I'm still a really small YouTuber. I have like 50,000 subscribers. And you know, I am nervous about wrestling with the Olympic wrestler. It's, you know, it's a big thing. If I can prove to him that my wrestling has improved, and I really feel it. Like, I think, like, for the people that seen both series, like, watch the difference. I think it's night and day. My wrestling has become a lot better and I feel a lot more comfortable. But at the end of the day, I'm not the one to judge. So yeah, I'm gonna eat something and then I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. I'm gonna head out pretty early. The next episode will be the final episode here in Georgia. I'm gonna come up against the Olympic wrestler in the biggest challenge of my life. It's going to be now or never. This is my one shot at proving to the world that my wrestling has now improved. But before that, I'm going to do the training that eluded me in Dagestan, the mountain training, which turned out to be so hard I almost had to vomit. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next week in the next episode. Oes!